Boom shakalaka. Ladies and gentlemen, Palantir Technologies is already up over $36 in the overnight trading session on Robinhood. We'll show this here in a second. Right now, up about over $1 already at $36.50 to be exact. Things are climbing right now as we speak. It's going to be exciting to see what happens come market open. Will this stabilize? And is $40 here in the near future? That could be entirely possible, especially with a lot of things happening in the market this week. Macroeconomically, the big thing is the Fed going to be making those interest rate cuts? We have the FOMC meeting that will be occurring, and they're going to make their first decision. A lot of people, the market basically has priced in the first 25 basis point rate cut, so we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. If you are a new or returning viewer, we're going to be talking about everything Palantir right now. Growth story, talking about the list, some articles we're going to cover, and of course, bring up some of the counter arguments. Hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, what you can see right here, pop it up. Palantir at $36.50, up over 91 cents. We see a lot of buying pressure that's coming in here in the after-hour trading session. Now, going back to Friday, market close. Hope everybody had a good weekend. It went pretty quick. Now, for me personally, $35.59, that's where we close. Palantir is doing a really good job holding these mid-30s, especially after we saw this launch up here in this gap that was created. We've seen a lot of good things happening with PLTR. Just to name a few right off the top of the list is the inclusion in the S&P 500. And that inclusion effect, you can see here, took place and it was very strong for Palantir. And then you have AIPCom, you have now Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, that is starting to be on some of the big networks. We saw that over this weekend, and is starting to become they already are in the headlines, but not compared to some of the big Magnificent Seven, stocks, but getting to the point that they are starting to trend and be in a lot of the big headlines, being compared to other big stocks like NVDA. So is $40 here in the near future? We talk about that right here. Is it an unstoppable growth stock to buy? Now, interesting article that Yahoo Finance puts out here, talking about growth stocks, companies where the earnings and sales, are growing faster than a lot of the other companies are expected to grow. Palantir, where does it fall on this list? And how was this list created? First of all, this list was set to a performance filter with a year-to-date of over 50% and kind of sifted through some of the high-growth industries to get a consolidated list of stocks. Now, AI stocks, we do know that is a very high growth industry right now. We've seen that with the demand. We've seen that with NVIDIA. All the AI stocks have been doing very well since 2022. So talking about some of the biggest gainers here, where does Palantir fall on this? Now, year to date, Palantir is up over 109%. You have 44 hedge funds that are holding Palantir. And a lot of people do track what these big hedge funds are doing because they do a lot more research than just what I would do personally. But talking about its commercial customers, I think has really been the main exposure. And what AIP has done for Palantir has, I would say, been groundbreaking and is a big game changer. You've seen the credibility that's been built up in the governmental side of things, and that continues to do well. But moreover, in the last few quarters, we've seen the commercial side of things really continuing to take off. And now you have the maturity of Palantir being included into the S&P 500. The actual rebalancing of that was just the announcement, is happening September 23rd before the market open. So this is listed number 5 on this list right here on the unstoppable tech stocks to buy. The conviction here lying in the belief that AI stocks are going to continue with the demand is one of the main culprits behind this. And that leads into the next thing, could Palantir stock really help you become a millionaire? Now, the growth story behind Palantir, if you compare that to NVIDIA is up over basically 700% since 2022 and since the actual announcement and launch of ChatGPT. NVIDIA has 7x'd. So how does that relate to Palantir? Palantir, from its all-time low to hit here, has helped a lot of the people already make a good amount of money. We've seen that in December 2022 when Palantir was under $10. Think about that in today's age. If Palantir was under $10. And a lot of people were able to get in at those price points and right now are doing very well, either holding on the sidelines, taking profits, continuing to accumulate shares. Depends all on your position and your risk assessment. But right now, the biggest criticism for Palantir is its price to sales ratio of 82.6 and a trailing price to earnings ratio of 205. Now, considering the growth expectations, this ratio should come down reasonably quickly. And we do talk about some things. What is the plateau for the AI stocks? NVDA, some people are arguing, has already seen a little bit of a plateau. For now, investors are kind of concerned for cloud infrastructures and companies that are overspending on AI and stock prices. And this, I think, regardless of Palantir specifically, I think the macroeconomic conditions is going to have more of an impact on Palantir than Palantir itself, rather in its earnings. Palantir is continuing to do very well, has an amazing balance sheet. We've seen it in its quarter earnings. Right now, we have 11 earnings per share revisions that are in the bullish directions. So Wall Street is continuing to expect growth in terms of guidance. Earnings per share, earnings here is at about 2 months from now. But the big thing that we need to understand is if we see a large fluctuation in the markets here, in the fact that if we have the demand that starts to dwindle a little bit due to the fact that if companies are not spending a lot on innovative technologies, that's where Palantir is an innovative technology, then that is the argument, for example, why some people are using that for NVIDIA, possibly seeing a plateau. One thing, though, that Palantir does have to its advantage is its software. So its demand for its products is separate, kind of demand and different, from the rest of the generative AI sector. And that is because they're bringing utility to that generative AI sector. The utilization and with the software, the demand can stay high because Palantir can actually help different clients cut costs. It can help them improve productivity, working on efficiency, and reducing waste. So as a leading competitor right here, yes, I think any changes in the macroeconomic conditions will have an impact on Palantir. However, I think it's going to do and have a little more resilience compared to some of the other AI stocks. Now, the Fed interest rate decision, that's going to be the big thing that's happened in the market and what to expect in the markets this week. Right now, the Federal Reserve is expected to cut interest rates for the first time in 4 years. Time goes quick, talking about the good old 2020 days. 4 years we haven't seen an interest rate cut. The first one's expected to be on Wednesday, delivering remarks on that decision. And we will also get existing home sales and housing market data right here, seeing if we're going to have home builder confidence and just first-time home buyers and house buyers in general. If we see mortgage rates that are continuing to fall, which they have been because they're basically being priced in right now with the expectation of these rate cuts, announcing right here this week, there could be a lot of volatility that does come into the market. Just with the FOMC meeting that begins, the interest rate decision, of course, and then the housing market index that will be released. So that is going to be a big indicator on how the economy is doing and what the results are and the decisions are going to be from the Fed. In terms of NVIDIA, we talk about that, I've been covering that a little bit here. We mentioned its plateau. NVIDIA is sitting at about 119. It did a really good job holding the support zone at 100. On a technical basis, regardless of all the stuff that you're going to see in the headlines, and NVIDIA has to reach its peak and stuff, we don't know. Nobody knows. But in terms of a technical perspective, that $100 support zone is a pretty critical support zone because it's also a psychological support zone. Just the number 100 being under $100, then that's when I think NVIDIA has more of a kind of free fall type of potential. But you can see good reversals, many touch points at the 100. So that's where I stand with NVIDIA. Just kind of keep it on the sidelines because there are so many different opposing opinions. Other than that, that's all that I have for you guys. This week is probably going to be pretty exciting, especially with Palantir that's sitting at the high of about 36. We'll see how well that holds. And I want to know, what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Hope you guys all had a good weekend. Prepare for this week and how everything's going to be happening with the markets. Peace out. Take care. Have a great night.